Hello everyone, welcome to Big Data Thoughts. Today we are going to talk about the architectural concept that is confusing to many people, and there are many questions around data fabric. So we will discuss why data fabrics came into picture, what is a data fabric, what are the advantages, and what to keep in mind when we want to build data fabrics. So let's get started. First of all, why do we need a data fabric? So since we are in a world where there is lots and lots of data getting generated every second, and we are living in a world where we are using AI, ML, IoT, edge computing, which is increasing the amount of data that we generate. Also, we have these days the technology has advanced so much that we have multi-tenant or scenarios, we have hybrid cloud setups. So all in all of these pose multiple challenges. So one is the complexity that is getting increased. Then there is a lot of data that is getting generated, so the complexity is there in terms of managing that data, doing a proper governance, doing or applying security policies, handling the entire complexity of having multiple environments. Also, even if we have moved to cloud or we are using data lakes, data lake houses, there are still a number of data silos because entire organization's data may not be at a single place. So in this kind of a setup, there is a need to look at what would be easy for us to implement so that we can consume the data even if it has complexity, even if it is spread out. How can we use that in an efficient manner? So that is where the concept of data fabric comes in. So what is data fabric? There are many definitions that have been given by Gartner, by different people, but essentially a data fabric is an architecture. It's not something which is already available, which we can use out of the box. There are many tools that support it, but essentially data fabric is a concept. It's an architectural concept that talks about loose coupling of the platforms, the data in the platforms, and the applications that need it. So we are not trying to tightly couple the data and the applications. There is a loose coupling between them, and what data fabrics talks about is creating a unified view of data, helping with self-serve data consumption. So all in all, what it means is today in an organization you would see that despite your efforts of creating data lake, etc., you would still have your data residing at multiple places. For example, let's say there is customer data which an organization captures, but that customer data may be spread across different databases, different clouds even. So how do you get a 360-degree view of a customer, or how do you get entire data which is residing at multiple places and do some analytics? To do that, you need a consumption layer or a way to manage that data and consume it. So that essentially is your data fabric. It is that architectural concept which can give you a abstraction from wherever the data is lying. It's an abstracted layer which helps you to consume the data in a unified manner, irrespective of where your data is residing. It gives you the capability of doing a self-serve on data consumption. Now, there are other definitions which talks about that a data fabric automates data discovery, governance and consumption by enabling the enterprises to use data to maximize its value. In a nutshell, it is right data at the right time regardless of where it resides. Wherever it is, maybe some data is in AWS, some in Azure, some is on-prem, some is lying in some database, some data is lying somewhere else. But what you're typically trying to do is create a layer which can give you self-serve data discovery or data consumption. So that concept is known as a data fabric. Now what is needed to build a data fabric? Three things that we would primarily need to build a data fabric, and we'll see why. So first of all, we will need a semantic knowledge graph. Whatever data is residing in whichever place, we will need a very, very effective active metadata management, and that metadata can be structured into a knowledge graph. We would need machine learning to derive patterns to understand the data and the metadata that is there. So three primary we can say flavors of things that are needed are semantic knowledge graphs, active metadata management, and embedded machine learning. To make this more clear, let us look at this picture. This is by Gartner, which talks about key pillars for doing a comprehensive data fabric or building a data fabric. So you would see here that at the absolute bottom there are data sources. Now, as I said, these can be residing in multiple places, and there can be like multiple setups as well. Now, on top of that, it is very necessary to have a data catalog. Now, this data catalog will represent the metadata types in a connected knowledge graphs. In the previous slide, I spoke about embedded AI/ML and connected knowledge graph or semantic knowledge graph. So, we will have a data catalog which represents all the metadata for wherever the data resides, and that metadata is represented in a connected knowledge graph. Now, on top of that knowledge graph, we want to do analytics to understand where the data resides and to give that unified view so that the user can consume the data. So that analytics is done over the connected graph, and that is where the metadata is known as activate metadata or active metadata. And then we have AI/ML algorithms which help us in automating and data integration. So the first layer is data source. On top we have a data catalog or metadata layer. Above that we have knowledge graphs and active metadata analysis. We are building knowledge graphs out of that metadata so that we can do analytics on top of that. And the top two layers or the layers above the yellow, which are depicted in blue, are basically the integration layer. So this is the automated data orchestration for the consumers. If you see the top layer, those are consumers. How will they access the data sources or the data? There should be automated data orchestration. There should be a dynamic data integration. Now that will enable, so this whole package is actually the data fabric, which is helping the user or consumer to access data from different places together in a seamless manner. Now, what are the advantages of doing that? So you must have heard the term called democratization of data. How can we use the data most effectively, efficiently from multiple places? So data fabric is the answer to that. It is different than data virtualization though. Data fabric means, like I explained, it is about getting that seamless view to the data. So it helps in democratizing data or providing data as a service. It helps in better data protection, because now we have introduced a data fabric layer which is exposing the data to the consumer. So we can control the security, the privacy, authentication, authorization at that layer. So it is giving better data protection. It is helping in democratizing our data, and it also helps in intelligent integration, because we have collected the metadata irrespective of location. We have created a knowledge graph out of that, and then we are doing analytics on that metadata to understand how and where the data resides. So we are doing an intelligent integration and providing a seamless view to the consumer. So this is all about what a data fabric is, why it came into picture, the advantages and the core concepts. In the upcoming videos, I'm going to talk about difference between data mesh and data fabric, because that's an area which people really talk about and want to understand how they both are different. Thanks so much for listening in. Please like, share and subscribe to the videos. Thank you very much.